in the 18 to 35 tier, if you had to bet one of these guys at price, who would it be and why? And if you like more than one, please feel free to say so. Or if anyone interests you for any reason, please tell us why. Hurts 18, Herbert 20, Stroud, Love 25, Goff, Purdy, Dak, Caleb, Baker, Kyler 30, Stafford and Bo Nix 35.
Yeah, and for those just joining us now, like in the last segment, I mentioned Josh Allen among the real contenders is the guy that I bet at 6-1. This other bet is my only other bet in the MVP market, so I have two guys. It's Jordan Love at 25 for the Green Bay Packers. And like we've been talking about this all throughout the offseason, my optimism about the Green Bay Packers. Now, the wide receiver injuries recently, it's not great. I think they can weather the storm. It always feels like there's something going on with the Packers passing game. Hopefully they can figure it all out and Jayden Reed can get back maybe in mid-September or whatever. But if these guys can get back, I do think at some point they're going to really click. Like the drop passes are ridiculous. And we saw it even on Saturday night in the preseason game as well. But if they can just kind of like regress to the mean in terms of drop passes and Jordan Love can stay healthy, because that's the big thing for me. Like Jordan Love was not healthy last year. He had multiple injuries. If he can get back, the Packers have a schedule and a team quality that sets up to being potentially the number one seed in the NFC. Like that's what you want to be doing right now in the MVP market. You want to be looking for quarterbacks who can put up big stats and have a pathway to being the one seed. That's your formula there. I think that's the case in Green Bay. At 25-1, I would do it. Jalen Hurts, he's interesting at 18-1, but the problem with me with Jalen Hurts is that his passing profile is not of other MVP winners. It doesn't mean he can't win the award, but I think you need a very specific pathway of Eagles 14-3, 15-2, and nobody from the AFC that has like a great year and also was on a really good team. Like that's the path for Jalen Hurts to win. Even at 18-1, I would not do that. So for me, with the kind of mid-tier guys, to go along with Josh Allen, it's Jordan Love at 25-1. That's kind of like the fun long shot price, quote unquote, if you will, in this market.
Love that. Jordan Love at 25-1. I would, as I look at these and I try to build an upside case, Femi, for somebody, I think you could build one potentially for Caleb Williams. I wouldn't bet it just because of what I've seen thus far in training camp. I've not loved, but it's still training camp. But Caleb's a little interesting at 30. I like the Cardinals a lot. But, I mean, that division's so tough, and I don't know if they can get to, like, 13 wins, 12 wins, 14 wins, even though I do like Arizona. I think the Cardinals will be a playoff team. No interest for me in Matthew Stafford with the back injury. You know I love the Broncos, but I think if the Broncos win 14 games, I probably going to be because the defense is electric. I don't think Bo Nix would win, although I do like the Broncos a lot this year. The guy that I'm looking at would be Baker Mayfield at 30-1.
Yeah.
If Tampa can rack up a big regular season and win a division where I don't like Carolina, I don't like New Orleans, and I think the Falcons can potentially be good, and we'll talk about Michael Penix in a second and his price, but I think the Falcons need a lot to go their way to get home. That's like a 4-leg parlay that you need to cash for Atlanta just to be competitive with Tampa this year. And maybe it happens in week 1 in Atlanta. We'll see. But Baker, I think at 30 is a little interesting, Femi.
Yeah, 100%. He's on the list. Like I have a list right now of like the contending guys and like the fun long shot guys. So like your Loves, your Strouds, your Purdy's are on that list. Baker Mayfield's on that list as well at 30-1. Now I haven't bet it because like I want to also keep some bullets in the chamber for the regular season. Like let's see how things develop over the course of 17 weeks. But like he makes total sense from a longer shot price. The offense is incredibly efficient, was really good last year. And also like he has the passing profile of a potential winner. Now I'm just not as high on Tampa as I am on Green Bay and other teams in the NFC. But if you truly believe that Tampa is going to run away with the NFC South and win it again and potentially be like a 12, 13, maybe even 14 win team, he can 100% win the award. I'm just not there with the team, but it makes a lot of sense though, given the fact that he's put up big numbers the last couple of years to where it's like, we can't just keep saying it's the coordinator because we said that with Canales, we said it with Cohen. Like eventually we got to look at the common denominator, and that's Baker Mayfield at quarterback.
So Femi's two bets as it stands right now in the MVP market, Josh Allen at 6 and Jordan Love at 25. All right, let's go to 50 and beyond. Trevor Lawrence, Saquon Barkley, Drake May, Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, all at 50. Michael Penix and Sam Darnold, 66. Bryce Young, J.J. McCarthy, 80. Geno Smith, Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, 100. Anyone interest you there at these long prices?
A little bit for me on Penix, which kind of goes in the face of Baker Mayfield because only one of those guys can win the division. But Penix is 66-1. Obviously, none of the historical stuff would ever apply to him because he only played 3 games. But sometimes you do get like those outlier guys. But my thing with
like
those
Lamar
guys is that you want to make sure
2019 is
like
one
Lamar.
of them, right?
and Patrick Mahomes. Like he was another
Mahomes,
outlier
yeah,
guy
true.
to where like you couldn't say that, oh, like previous Pro Bowl or All Pro. Like no, he never played other than one game against the Broncos in like week 17. So like Penix, at least the price makes sense. Now it's a little bit of a long shot. You have to like once again hit the parlay, like Nick, you've been mentioning about the Atlanta Falcons, but at least it's at 66-1. It's not at like 30-1 or 25-1 to try to hit the parlay. I've cooled a little bit, a touch on the Falcons. I still think them to win the division is a bet, but I just don't see like the 1 seed upside here. I see like win the South upside and maybe be like the 3 seed. I don't see it with being the best team in the conference in the regular season. So like if I had to bet it like a long shot, it would be him, but I'm still just going to kind of hang back because let's say they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That 66-1 is not going to all of a sudden shoot down to 10-1. You know, like you can at least gather in some data first and say, okay, like how did this look? Like, does the offense have potential to be what we think it might be? And is the defense kind of coming along as well? So you can kind of hold off a little bit on Penix, but unless he throws like 6 touchdowns, of course, then the kind of the ship leaves the boat leaves the dock there. But I would hold off a little bit and just kind of taking some more data points on a guy that's kind of sight unseen.
Anything else interest you in MVP before we go to Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I would just say a couple guys that I'm just like staying away from. Like we mentioned Burrow, Daniels, Hurts, Herbert at 20-1. Like the injury to the offensive line with Rashawn Slater. Also, like the passing game doesn't have a high upside with Greg Roman. That's a guy I'd stay away from. And like
and
they play in a tough
Keenan
division.
Allen
Like
signing, dude, to me, it's just
it's
that's bad news for Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert Smith. And you would want both those guys to be good to help Herbert potentially win an MVP award.
100%. Like Keenan Allen runs like a 5.2 40 now. Like it's not going to help out. It's not a great sign for the receiving room. Jared Goff at 30-1. I'm skeptical just because like, let's see what it looks like without Ben Johnson, and the offensive line changes as well. Like I wouldn't be betting that. Dak, of course, I mean the team success is very flimsy there with the Cowboys win total at 7.5 or 8. Kyler Murray, same deal with the team success. Stafford, we talk about the injuries, and Bo Nix as well. I just don't think that he has the upside right now and from a passing profile to win the award. So those are other guys that I would stay away from that, you know, some people might be interested in. I'm not interested. I think it's your real deal contenders and maybe one of the fun long shot guys that we discussed with like the Loves, the Purdy's, the Mayfields, and potentially a Penix if you want to go real deep with a long shot.
How deep? All right, we'll move on.